This is a tutorial on how to use the NextGen gallery on WordPress. So NextGen gallery is a better way to handle all of the images that you're going to put onto your site, because it not only adds a bit more functionality onto the posts and pages you put them on, but it also creates just a better organizational structure for them, because instead of throwing them all into one folder, you can throw them into albums or galleries as well, which is just an added bonus for organization. So to get started, this is the overview for NextGen Gallery. There are a couple of different things you can do. On this sidebar over to the left, if you scroll down, the gallery is going to have all these options over here. The options you're going to mainly use are Overview, Add Gallery / Images, Manage Gallery, Album, Tags, and Options. So the overview is just telling you how many images, galleries, and albums you have. If you want to add a new picture, you can just do Upload Pictures, and there are multiple ways that you can add pictures. One is just pick them from your computer and then pick which gallery you want to upload them to. Now, if you want to upload them to a new gallery, then what you can do is click on this Add New Gallery button and just create a new gallery, and then click Add Gallery and it'll be there. So then if you upload images, it'll appear here and you can upload into it. You can also upload a zip file that's filled with images to a specific gallery, up to 100 megabytes, as said here. If that ever changes, then the limit is changed. And then you can also import an image folder from a server. So if you have on another server, say 100 pictures of something, and you want to import them onto here, then all you have to do is browse for where that is, and it'll automatically put that into the gallery, which is pretty nice. So that's how you upload a new image. Then if you scroll down here, you can actually manage a gallery, or all of your galleries, through this. And it's pretty similar to the Posts or Pages menu or Media menu. You can click on the gallery, and then it's going to have your title, whatever it is in there, whatever the descriptor for it is. Then you're actually going to have a more typed out description, and then the path of where it is. And this is actually the literal path on your website for where these images are. And the preview image is going to show which one of these images in the gallery is going to show kind of as this placeholder for this gallery. So if you were overviewing 10 different galleries, then the preview image would be the one you would view for this gallery specifically in that overview of them all. The author of the gallery is just right in here. You can just change who made it, and then you can create a page based on this gallery. Now, the name you want to give to these, you actually want to make sure that they're fairly descriptive, because later you're going to have to be able to identify them using only the name. It's kind of a downfall, but as long as you give them a descriptive name, which you really should be doing anyway for search engine purposes, you'll be fine. Now there are albums. Albums are pretty similar. What you can do is you can just create a new album and then pick which galleries you want to put into it, or what images from the gallery you want to put into it, and that's just another way to organize your pictures. It's pretty simple. You can just kind of drag around your galleries into specific places, open up which pictures, yada yada. You don't really need to use albums, because galleries pretty much have you covered on anything you're going to need to do. Tags are actual tags on your galleries and for your website. Looks like we've already done a lot of the search engine optimization tagging, but if you want to add a new tag, then you can just add a new one in here. It's pretty easy to do, and you can kind of edit them and delete tags as you go along. And then options are just options for the gallery itself. You shouldn't really need to mess with this, but every once in a while you might want to just take a look at your settings. This is kind of the thumbnails, so how big they're going to be and stuff like that. Really, this has all been set up previously, so you don't actually need to play with it. Now, when you want to actually put an image on a page, what you want to do is click this little NextGen gallery button, and there are a couple different things you can do with it. You can use just a picture, and this is where I said you're going to want to name them very specifically, because you're going to need to be able to identify them from the name. And clearly right now, the naming scheme isn't the most effective, but you can tab between two things and find the image name and then find the image name here. It takes more time, but it works. You want to enter in the width and the height of the picture you want. If you want, you can put on a watermark or a Web 2.0 effect, which just kind of makes it a little more flashy. And then you can float it left, center, or right. This is the same thing as if you were inserting normal media. Left means the text is going to go around the right of your image. Center means it's going to take up an entire row, and there isn't going to be any text on the left or right side. And then right means the text is going to float around to the left. So, say I put in this image and I insert it. It's going to come up with this shortcode right here. I'm also going to want to set the float to left, which I could have done in the actual NextGen gallery when I click the button, but you can also type it here. Now the way that shows up on the page is like this. It's going to look like this, and then they can click on it, and because it's NextGen Gallery, it's going to pop up with a big version of the picture, which is really nice, especially if you're trying to sell prints of something you're doing, which is what this website is trying to do. So that's a really nice function of it. A normal gallery won't be able to do that, the default WordPress one. Now going back to edit the post, there are a couple other different things you can do. Click on this button again, and if you go to gallery, what you can do is you can pick one of the galleries, let's say ponies, and you can have it show as one of these three different things. So let's start out with show as image list. When you insert that, this is what it's going to look like. That's the shortcode. This is the ID for the gallery, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's going to post a 4x5 grid of all the pictures in the gallery, and then you can just kind of click through them, and it's going to refresh the page every time. But you can click through them and then just look at all of the galleries in here, or the pictures in the gallery. It's going to have little thumbnails of them, so that may be an option you want to change. But as it stands, it works. Then if you want to use a different way of showing the gallery, you can also use it as a slideshow. And then if you preview that, it's going to be the same code, but what you can do is click show as slideshow, and then it's going to pop up after it loads all the images. It's going to pop up with thumbnails of everything, and then you can click through all of them, which is pretty nice. It's really nifty if you just kind of want to have a really kind of soft transition through all of the pictures and there aren't too many. Ponies is kind of a full gallery to do this with, because there are like 100 pictures in it. But if you had, maybe 16 to 20 pictures, this would be a pretty good option. Then finally, you can display it as an image browser. 2 seconds. And what that is going to do, it's like I have to actually do all this. Alright, that's what image browser is going to look like. And what that's going to do is it's going to look like this, where you can click next and you go one picture at a time. And they're much larger sized than either in the slideshow or the individual pictures. There's a downside that it refreshes the page every time, but it's a pretty nice option if you want to have bigger pictures. And that's all there really is to it with the gallery. It's a lot better to use NextGen just because it has so much more functionality than the media library versus, where in the media library you can just insert an image. In NextGen, you can insert an image, create a gallery, You can create a slideshow. You can do tons of things that it's a way better way to manage your images and show them to anyone visiting your website.